name is Emily Bilbrey. I'm excited to be here with you today to share some information on needle exchange programs. I look forward to answering any questions that you may have following my presentation. Needle exchange programs are a place where an IV drug user can come to a non-government funded facility, maybe a pharmacy or a pop-up clinic, and exchange that dirty needle for a clean one in hopes of lowering the spread of HIV and AIDS. Needle exchange programs are not widely accepted due to the impression that they enable drug users to inject. However, needle exchange programs are beneficial and should be widely accepted due to the fact that they lower the spread of HIV and AIDS, they promote rehabilitation centers, and they lower public health expenditures. There are an estimated 350,000 Americans that regularly inject drugs in America, and 950,000 U.S. residents are living with HIV and AIDS. Not only are injection drug users at a higher risk of contracting HIV and AIDS, but also infections such as hepatitis B and C. These infections collectively infect over 400,000 people each year, and over 23,000 Americans die each year from them. Researchers have found that 27% of drug users die within the first 20 years of regular drug use, and half of those are directly related to HIV and AIDS. Hemodialysis, transfusion, and sexual contact account for a small portion of HIV and AIDS, but injection drug use accounts for 60% of those cases. More than 1/4 of AIDS cases in the U.S. among people 13 and older are directly linked to IV drug use. And over a half of HIV infections in children are directly linked to IV drug use in a parent. These IV drug users are not the only people being affected by these illnesses. Their families, their spouses, their partners, their children are also being affected. This shows the need for needle exchange programs even here in our own hometown. Needle exchange programs have shown an 80% risk reduction in IV drug users. New York State approved needle exchange programs found that during a 12-month period, 87 HIV infections were averted due to a direct result of needle exchange programs. In Washington, there has been an 83% reduction in hepatitis B and an 86% reduction in hepatitis C due to needle exchange programs. Not only are needle exchange programs beneficial due to the fact that they lower the spread of HIV and AIDS, but they also promote rehabilitation centers. When an IV drug user comes to a needle exchange program, they're not just anonymously giving a needle to inject. They're provided with education on STDs, they're provided with HIV counseling and testing and tuberculosis testing, and just given primary health care. IV drug users are very accustomed to daily rejection by family and friends, so needle exchange programs just provide a safe place for them to come and get help. Elizabeth Owens did an interview with The Atlantic and stated that for many years she injected with dirty needles, any needle she could find, until one day her friend said that there was a van, a needle exchange program, on the side of the road giving clean needles. She went to check it out and stated that she found people with resources, people that were caring. She stated, "The staff of the program didn't just give me a clean syringe, they told me who to contact for help." She entered a rehabilitation program and hasn't used drugs in over 2 years. Needle exchange programs are beneficial because they lower the spread of HIV and AIDS, and they promote rehabilitation centers, but they're also beneficial because they lower public health expenditures. One syringe-infected AIDS patient will require upwards of $120,000 per year in public health expenditures. The average cost of treating one HIV-infected patient over their lifetime is $370,000. The U.S. is expected to spend $30 billion annually on AIDS and HIV research, housing, treatment, and prevention. 61% of that money goes directly toward the treatment. It costs an average city about $160,000 annually to run a needle exchange program. That averages out to about $20 per person per year. So $20 a person compared to $370,000, the needle exchange programs are most definitely the most logical decision. In closing, I want to remind you that needle exchange programs are beneficial and should be widely accepted due to the fact that they lower the spread of HIV and AIDS, they promote rehabilitation centers, and they lower public health expenditures. Overall, needle exchange programs really do save lives. I want to thank you for your time and attention, and I look forward to answering any questions that you may have.